My name is Ryan Martin, and this is my analysis of Shakespeare in the Bush. The main idea of this article is that individual cultures interpret things differently based on their languages, traditions, customs, and experiences. An example of how the article illustrates the impact of worldview on the interpretation of cultural meanings comes right at the beginning of the story of Hamlet. As the author is explaining to the Tiv tribe that the three men are being approached by the dead chief, she is interrupted by one of the natives. The native expresses that it's not the chief that could be approaching, but it's that it's an omen. The tribe doesn't believe in the idea of ghosts or spirits, they believe in omens, as Europeans would believe that it's just a ghost or a spirit. They also don't accept the idea of it being an omen because it is appearing to Hamlet. Hamlet is the son of the dead chief, and in the Tiv tribe culture, they would believe omens only appear to other chiefs or elders of authority. And since the chief, who passed away, still has an older brother living, it doesn't make sense to them that the omen would appear to Hamlet as opposed to just appearing to the brother. The author makes an ethnocentric bias when he determined that the amount of questions that the tribe was asking and how they were giving their input about the story meant that they wanted to stop hearing the story. In America, especially these days, when people are confronted with questions about what they believe or why they're explaining things a certain way, and there's a level of discomfort in their tone, that often means that they want the story to stop being told because they're triggered or they're offended. Whereas in this situation, the natives were just inquiring and expressing their own beliefs about how, culturally speaking, the story couldn't make sense to them, or how the way the author was explaining the story, they just didn't accept because of their different beliefs and customs. This story challenges the notion that one cultural values are considered normal. As the Americans telling the story, they continuously interrupt the person that's telling the story to point out the relationship between the chief and the father and the sons and the mothers are very different from how their tribe, compared to Europeans, would interpret the relationship. Even the expectation of how remarrying works is different from the tribe to typical Europeans. In Hamlet, the mother remarries very quickly, which the Tiv tribe views as a very good thing because she needs a man in her life to tend to her property, plow her fields, raise livestock, grow vegetables, and take care of her. So the remarrying quickly was very good to them, where the author felt that she should have waited longer to get remarried because she didn't have proper time to mourn. I was born and raised in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which has deep Amish and Mennonite roots. And an outsider might see the Amish and the Amish culture and think that they're poor-souled because they pass down clothes, often aren't wearing shoes, don't have modern heating, electric, and cooling as we do. They still drive horse and buggy, and they also use scooters and bikes. When in reality, they're not poor-souled at all. In fact, many of them have great assets in properties and land, and many of them also have generational businesses that have stood for a long time, and they are very capable of starting businesses that are very successful just from the ground up. One of the best practices for communication across cultures is to ask clarifying questions or to explain alternate views as the conversation is unfolding. This can help eliminate assumptions about cultures. In the article, the members of the Tiv tribe are continuously asking questions about the story of Hamlet, such as, had the dead chief no living brothers, or was the son of the chief? Or did Hamlet's father and uncle have another mother? Or did Hamlet's father and uncle have one mother? These clarifying questions help clear up confusion that the Tiv tribe is experiencing, since different cultures view the relationships differently. A personal experience that I've had is I went on a missions trip to Kenya, Africa, and I went with the assumption that the people there were going to be sad and distraught about the poverty that they were living in. And what I found out is that they are actually some of the most joyous and grateful people that I've ever met, even though to my standards, they don't have nearly as many of the possessions and the comforts that I do. Yet they are a way more grateful group of people than I was expecting them to be, and that I find my fellow Americans to be. The most significant lesson I learned is that if we have assumptions about someone else's worldview, specifically if we think it is the exact same as ours, we will most likely become frustrated when they do not understand our perspective or see the world as we see it. So it is important to go into the conversation with people from other worldviews with an open mind, ready to learn about how they perceive the world. Thank you.